The house had been silent for too long. Sunlight slipped through the half-open blinds, stretching across the living room carpet and touching the edge of the couch where Laura Bennett slept. A paperback novel rested on her chest, its pages bent where her fingers had loosened. One sock had slid halfway off her foot. Her phone lay dark beside her, untouched. She had not planned to fall asleep there. Laura rarely rested in the middle of the day. Even on her days off, her mind ran in circles: bills, groceries, laundry, emails from work, reminders she set and forgot. Being still felt strange. Dangerous. Like if she stopped moving, the loneliness would catch up to her. This morning, it had. She had told herself she would read one chapter. Instead, exhaustion pulled her under. Upstairs, Ethan Bennett paused outside his bedroom door. He listened. No TV. No footsteps. Only the low hum of the refrigerator downstairs and the soft tick of the hallway clock. His mother was asleep. He knew because she only slept that deeply when she was worn down to the bone. Ethan leaned against the wall, hands in his hoodie pockets, heart beating faster than it should for such a calm moment. This was it. If he waited any longer, he would lose his nerve. He moved quietly toward the stairs, stepping around the one spot that always creaked. He had memorized the sounds of the house over 15 years, every loose board, every door hinge that needed oil. Living with one parent made you notice things like that. From the railing, he peeked down into the living room. Laura was curled slightly on her side now, hair falling across her cheek. She looked younger when she slept. Softer. Not like the woman who rushed out the door before sunrise or collapsed at the kitchen table with paperwork spread around her. Ethan felt a pinch in his chest. She deserved better mornings than this. He continued down the stairs. Each step felt loud even though it wasn't. In the kitchen, he set his phone on the counter and stared at it for 2 seconds longer than necessary. What if she got mad? What if she felt embarrassed? What if this made everything worse instead of better? He shook his head. No. He had thought about this too much already. He opened the cabinet and pulled out 2 mugs. 2. That part mattered. He filled the kettle, turned it on, then froze when it clicked louder than he expected. He glanced toward the living room. Laura didn't move. Good. He exhaled slowly. Ethan worked fast after that. Coffee grounds into the filter. Cinnamon rolls from the freezer onto a plate. He checked the box twice to make sure they were the ones with icing. His mom liked those best, even though she pretended they were too sweet. He glanced at the clock. 10:20. Perfect. While the coffee brewed, Ethan unlocked his phone. The message sat unsent. He had typed it last night, erased it, typed it again. Short. Simple. No explanation. His thumb hovered. Then pressed send. She's asleep. Come now. Across town, Daniel Carter's phone buzzed. Ethan didn't see that part, but he imagined it anyway. He imagined the man reading the screen, surprised, unsure, maybe smiling a little. Ethan poured the coffee carefully, adding cream and just enough vanilla syrup. He stirred, sniffed, nodded. Good. He placed the mugs across from each other at the table like he had seen couples do at cafes. Then he wiped the counter. Straightened the chairs. Moved a stack of mail that screamed responsibility and stress. The doorbell would ring soon. Too soon. His stomach twisted. He walked to the living room and checked on his mom again. Laura shifted slightly, murmuring something he couldn't hear. Ethan stepped back. Please don't wake up yet. Back in the kitchen, he paced. He had not told her about seeing Daniel at the store 2 weeks ago. How awkward it had been. How kind Daniel still sounded when he asked about her. How sad, too. Ethan had gone home that day and watched his mom from the hallway while she folded laundry, humming under her breath to keep herself company. That was when he decided. Adults messed things up. Kids sometimes had to fix them. The doorbell rang. Sharp. Clear. Too loud. Ethan jumped. Laura stirred. He rushed to the door before she could sit up. He opened it just enough to slip through. Daniel stood on the porch holding a small paper bag, the wind tugging at his jacket. His hair was shorter than Ethan remembered. There were faint lines around his eyes now. "You sure she's asleep?" Daniel whispered. Ethan nodded. "She won't hear." Daniel hesitated. "This is sudden." Ethan shrugged. "Life is." That made Daniel smile a little. Ethan stepped aside. "Come in." As the door closed behind them, Ethan wondered for the first time if he had done something brave. Or something that would change everything. Ethan led Daniel into the kitchen without turning on more lights. Morning sun already filled the room, pale and soft, reflecting off clean counters and the 2 mugs waiting on the table. Daniel stopped when he saw them. "You planned this," he whispered. Ethan nodded once. "I didn't want her to rush you out." Daniel let out a slow breath. "You shouldn't be carrying this." Ethan shrugged again, but his face was serious. "Someone had to try." Daniel set the bakery bag down. The smell of fresh bread drifted out. "What's in there?" Ethan asked. "Croissants," Daniel said. "And blueberry muffins." "I didn't know what she liked anymore." "She likes both." That earned Ethan a small smile. They stood in silence for a second, listening. Laura still slept. Ethan checked the hallway, then leaned against the fridge. "You didn't disappear," Ethan said suddenly. Daniel blinked. "What?" "You just stopped coming around. Mom never said anything bad about you. She just stopped talking about you at all." Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. "I thought that was kinder." "It wasn't." The word landed harder than Ethan meant. Daniel winced. "I know." Ethan crossed his arms. "She keeps an old photo in the kitchen drawer." Daniel's head snapped up. "What photo?" "The one from the fair. You're holding a giant stuffed bear." She's laughing so hard her eyes are closed. Daniel swallowed. "I didn't know she still had that." "She pretends it's junk." "It's not." Daniel stared at the table. "I loved her," he said quietly. Ethan nodded. "I think you still do." Daniel didn't answer right away. Outside, a car passed. A dog barked somewhere down the block. Then Daniel said, "When I ran into you at the store, I almost didn't speak." "You did." "I couldn't stop myself." Ethan smiled a little at that. "You asked about her." Daniel nodded. "I thought about it the whole drive home." Ethan picked at the sleeve of his hoodie. "She's tired all the time." Daniel frowned. "She works too much." "Yeah. And she doesn't go out," Ethan added. "She makes excuses. Says she's busy. Or old." Daniel looked up fast. "She's not old." "I know." Ethan met his eyes. "She just thinks she is." Daniel's face softened. "I never wanted her to feel like that." "Well, she does." Daniel closed his eyes for a second. "I thought she was better off without me." Ethan shook his head. "She wasn't." That was the truth. Ethan had watched her eat dinner alone more nights than he could count. Had seen her fold blankets on the couch even though no one sat there. Had heard her pause songs halfway through. Daniel cleared his throat. "Why are you doing this?" Ethan didn't answer right away. He walked to the window, watched leaves move in the breeze. "Because she stopped smiling the same." Daniel waited. Ethan turned back. "And because when I saw you at the store, you looked like you were missing something too." Daniel laughed softly, but it wasn't happy. "That obvious?" "Kind of." Daniel nodded. "I was." They both fell quiet. Then Ethan checked the clock. She'll wake up soon. Daniel's shoulders tightened. What if she's upset? She might be. And if she tells me to leave? Ethan considered that. Then you leave. But at least she'll know you came. Daniel studied him. You're brave. Ethan shrugged. Not really. I'm scared. That counts more. Ethan smirked. Daniel pulled his phone from his pocket. I didn't bring flowers. That seemed too much. Ethan snorted. She'd trip over them. Daniel chuckled, then sobered. I don't want to hurt her again. Ethan's face grew serious. Then don't disappear this time. Daniel nodded slowly. I won't. Ethan stepped closer. She won't say it first. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Say what? That she waited. That she hoped. That she thought about you. Daniel inhaled sharply. Ethan lowered his voice. She's proud. And tired. And scared to want things again. Daniel stared at the doorway leading to the living room. I was scared too. Well, Ethan said, you're here now. The coffee maker clicked off. Steam rose. The sound felt loud in the quiet house. Ethan grabbed the mugs and slid one toward Daniel. Drink before it gets cold. Daniel wrapped his hands around it like it mattered. Thank you. Ethan nodded. From the living room, Laura shifted. Both of them froze. Ethan whispered, Showtime. Daniel straightened his jacket. Ethan stepped back, heart racing. Whatever happened next? He couldn't take it back. Laura woke with a frown. Something felt wrong. The house smelled different. Warm. Sweet. Coffee. Real coffee. Not the quick cup she poured every morning while checking emails. She opened one eye. Sunlight touched the wall. The book had slipped onto the floor beside the couch. Her neck ached. She sat up slowly. Music floated through the air. An old song. One she used to play when driving with the windows down. Her stomach tightened. Ethan, she called. No answer. She stood, rubbing her arms, and walked toward the kitchen. Halfway there, she stopped. 2 mugs sat on the table. Steam rose from both. Her pulse jumped. She hadn't made them. And Ethan never used the good creamer. She stepped closer. Then she saw him. Daniel. Standing near the counter. Holding one of the mugs like he wasn't sure what to do with it. For one strange second, her brain refused to work. She blinked. Hard. He didn't fade. He looked older. Not in a bad way. Softer around the eyes. His jacket hung loose at the shoulders. He looked nervous. Hi, Laura, he said. Her chest tightened so fast it almost hurt. What are you doing here? Her voice came out thin. Daniel opened his mouth, then closed it. Ethan cleared his throat behind him. Laura turned. Her son leaned against the doorway, hands behind his back like he had planned a surprise party. You invited him? She asked. Ethan nodded once. I thought you should talk. Laura stared at him. Then back at Daniel. 1,000 thoughts crashed into each other. 5 years. No calls. No goodbye. A million late nights wondering what she did wrong. Daniel took a step back. If this is too much, I can go. He meant it. She could hear it. She should have said yes. She didn't. Sit, she said instead. The word escaped before she could stop it. Daniel hesitated. Then pulled out a chair. Ethan let out a breath he'd been holding. Laura stayed standing for a moment, arms folded tight, then forced herself to sit across from him. Silence rushed in. Not empty. Heavy. Ethan stared at the ceiling. So, he said too loudly, coffee? Laura shot him a look. Daniel slid her mug closer. Vanilla creamer, he said. She froze. You remembered. Daniel gave a small smile. I remember a lot. Her throat closed. She picked up the mug to hide her face. The first sip burned her tongue. She didn't care. How long have you been here? She asked. 10 minutes, Daniel said. Maybe 15, Ethan added. Laura narrowed her eyes. You planned this? Ethan shrugged. Kinda. She wanted to scold him. Instead she felt tears behind her eyes. That scared her more. They talked. Slowly. Too carefully. Work. Weather. Traffic. Daniel had moved back to town for a new job. Laura nodded like that was normal news. It wasn't. She hadn't known he was even close. Ethan shifted from foot to foot. Then grabbed his jacket from the hook. I'm going to Jake's. Laura blinked. Right now? Yeah. Daniel glanced at Ethan. You don't have to. I do, Ethan said quickly. He zipped his jacket. Laura stood. Ethan. He opened the door. Then paused. He looked at both of them. Don't rush, he said. Then he left. The door clicked shut. The house felt bigger. Quieter. Daniel rubbed his hands together. He's thoughtful. Laura let out a shaky laugh. He shouldn't be running my life. But he did a good job, Daniel said. She shot him a look. He smiled back, soft and careful. They fell quiet again. Laura studied the swirl of coffee in her mug. I didn't expect this, she said. I didn't either, Daniel replied. She looked up. Then why did you come? He met her eyes. Because when Ethan texted me, I didn't hesitate. Her heart skipped. I tried to forget you, she admitted. Daniel's breath caught. I couldn't. Her fingers tightened around the mug. Why didn't you call? Daniel swallowed. I thought you were moving on. She laughed once. Short. Sharp. I was surviving. He flinched. I didn't mean. I know. She exhaled. I just didn't know you still cared. I never stopped. The words hung between them. Fragile. Dangerous. Hopeful. Laura stood abruptly. I need air. She walked to the window, stared at the street. Cars passed. Life went on. Daniel rose halfway, then sat back down. I don't want to hurt you, he said. She turned. Then don't disappear again. He nodded. I won't. They held each other's gaze. Two people balancing on the edge of something old and new at the same time. Laura's phone buzzed on the table. A text from Ethan. You okay? She smiled despite herself. She typed back. Come back later. Daniel watched her. Is that permission? She didn't answer. She just smiled into her coffee. And wondered what came next. The hours passed like minutes. Laura and Daniel stayed in the kitchen, talking, sipping coffee, and laughing quietly. The conversation moved from safe topics, work, the city, small errands, to the memories they had shared years ago. Each word carried the weight of time, the things left unsaid, the longing they had both buried deep. Daniel reached for a muffin, breaking a small silence. Do you remember the summer fair? The Ferris wheel? Laura smiled, a little wistful. I've tried not to. I thought it would hurt too much. It hurt, Daniel admitted. But I never stopped remembering you laughing. I never forgot. Laura felt a tug in her chest. She had spent nights replaying the same memory, wishing things had been different. Now, sitting here with him, the memory felt alive again. Not painful, just present. Ethan came back home around late afternoon, carrying his backpack slung over one shoulder. He paused at the doorway, frozen in surprise. His mother was laughing. Really laughing. Daniel sat beside her on the couch, leaning slightly toward her. Not touching, just close enough that their connection was visible. The sunlight from the window caught the edges of his hair, and for a moment, Ethan didn't know whether to smile or hide. "Mom," he said slowly. Laura looked up at him, her cheeks flushed. "Ethan," she whispered. He raised an eyebrow. "This is new." She chuckled, brushing her hand across his shoulder. "Not new. Just overdue." Ethan smirked, shaking his head. "I see. So this is your doing, huh?" "You mean yours," Laura said, looking at him with affection. "If you hadn't sent that message, none of this would have happened today." Ethan shrugged, trying to appear casual, though his chest swelled with pride. "Someone had to remind you that life isn't only work, Mom." Daniel glanced at him, smiling softly. "Your son's right. You deserve this." Laura's eyes watered slightly. She swallowed and shook her head, amazed at the moment unfolding before her. 15 years of quiet longing, of missed chances, of patience and heartbreak, all led to this quiet, ordinary kitchen moment. And it felt extraordinary. Ethan leaned against the wall, pretending to check his phone. He didn't. He watched. His plan had worked better than he hoped. His mother wasn't just smiling, she was alive in a way he hadn't seen in years. Daniel took Laura's hand lightly for a second. Not in a grand gesture, just a simple touch. "I'm not leaving again," he said, his voice low. "I want to be here, if you'll let me." Laura looked at him, her heart pounding. She wanted to say yes immediately, but the words caught in her throat. Instead, she smiled, small and nervous. "Neither do I," she whispered. Ethan stepped forward, breaking the tension with a small grin. "You two need some space," he said, then pointed to the door. "I'm off to my room. Don't make a mess." Laura laughed, the sound warm and rich. "Go on," she said. "I'll be fine." Ethan's eyes sparkled with satisfaction. "I'll check on you later," he said, heading upstairs. When the door closed, Laura exhaled deeply and leaned back into the couch. Daniel mirrored her movement, their shoulders almost touching. The room was quiet again, but this time, it was a comfortable quiet, full of possibility. "I can't believe you did all this," Laura said finally, gesturing to the coffee, the muffins, the morning that had turned everything upside down. Daniel shrugged, smiling softly. "You taught me to wait, but not forever." Laura laughed, the kind of laugh that shakes away old fears. "I didn't think you'd come back." "I thought about it every day," he admitted. "Every time I drove past this street, I wondered if you were okay. If you were happy. And today, I decided it was time." Her chest tightened. She wanted to cry, but also to laugh, and maybe to hold him close. "I waited longer than I should have," she said. "I hoped, but I was scared." Daniel leaned closer. "So was I." They didn't touch, but the air between them was electric, tender, and fragile. It was the kind of connection you feel in a heartbeat, the kind that reminds you why you risk everything for love. Even as the sun dipped lower, painting the room gold, Laura knew this was a moment she would never forget. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. Honest. Brave. Later that night, after Daniel left with plans to return the next day, Laura lay in bed awake. She thought about Ethan's small act, the coffee, the message, the careful nudge that made this reunion possible. She thought about how one small gesture could change a life. She whispered into the dark, thinking of both her son and the man she loved, "I'll never forget what you did today." Some surprises didn't arrive with fanfare or noise. Some came quietly, with kindness and love, in a way that left a mark on your heart forever. And sometimes, love didn't wait for a perfect moment. It returned in a kitchen, with coffee and cinnamon rolls, on a quiet morning, while someone was sleeping. Laura finally closed her eyes, a soft smile on her face. Her heart was full. The house was quiet again, but this time it felt right. Because Ethan had reminded her that life could still surprise you. That love could still return. And that some moments, small, simple, and brave, were unforgettable. She would never forget this morning. Never.